Okay, so chapter 6 is called Power Presenting, and we get into the position where we strike interest. We pick interest with somebody. They've heard our story. We've maybe made a post. We've invited them to something, and then what happens is we get into, now what do I do? They're interested. What do I say next? What do I do next? What's the simple process? And I'm just trying to, there we go. Okay, so she says in here, there's a saying in our profession, facts tell and stories sell. And we've heard that a lot before, right? Because we can facts and facts and facts. But the thing is, it's always we make our decisions based on our emotions. And also if we can resonate with somebody and like, oh my gosh, I had that too. Or you hear a story of someone overcoming something that you're dealing with, or maybe someone that you know needs to help with, then that's really where the decision factor comes. Like, I need this, or I need to try this. And it's why we share testimonies and stories, and why we do the live story night. And so she says, we can share facts and figures about our business until we are blue in the face, but something magical happens when people emotionally connect to our stories and our experiences. It's why I'm loving those new videos that just came out with Plexus, the story ones. Because you can just feel, I mean, you need a Kleenex for sure for the first one. And the second one, there's so many different walks of life. She says, one of the most meaningful things we can do in prospecting is to share our personal story. So we need to develop what she calls the business story, but that is your story in general, right? So how many people here, if you would raise a hand, would be able to say, if someone would ask you this afternoon, if you're running an errand, hey, what is Plexus, or what do you do? How many of you would be able to basically just right on the moment spit out a 3 to 5 sentence blurb on what it is? Has anybody written that down, practiced? Kind of that your short version of the story, you know? That's really essential to have and essential to practice. And it took me a while to get mine down pat, and I kept tweaking it, but it's really helpful because then you're not like deer in the headlights. Oh my gosh, what do I say now? You're able to really maximize every moment. And so she says, here's a format that can help you develop your story. So if you like taking notes, jot down these few things. The first part is always, who are you? Right? So come up with a one-liner of who you are. So that could be a bit about your background, a little bit about yourself, what you do. Example, you know, when I'm talking to new people on Instagram, I always tell them I'm originally from Belgium, but I ended up marrying a Canadian prairie boy, and now I'm living on the farm, right? That's currently, and I'll usually add homeschool either. That's currently who I am, and I'll beef it up a little bit. Why were you looking for opportunity would be number 2. So for me, it was, I was in a position where after my 3rd baby, I was hit with such severe postpartum and hormone imbalance that I needed to look for an answer. That would be my why I needed this. And you can also swing that though to the business part, right? We don't always have to lead with products. We should actually lead with opportunities. So it might be, why were you needing an opportunity like this? Maybe you needed to stay home. Maybe you needed help paying the bills. Maybe there was a crisis and you wanted some extra funds to help somebody else, okay? Number 3 is, how did you find your business and why did you join? Okay, so you've just said, here's where I was at, and then I had this amazing friend named so-and-so who came to me just at the right time, and then you can add on to that, right? Basically why you found it. What results have you seen? And she says hope to see. Later on, though, she talks about not using the word hope too much, but basically tell them real quick, right? I can't believe that in, you know, a short 2 months, I haven't had a cyclical migraine, and my anxiety was totally gone. I felt like I was finally coming out of the cloud of postpartum. And then number 5, what has you excited the most? Okay, so very short, right? Do you see how though you'll just tweak it to your own thing, and you might change it, circumstances change, but what really got you fired up in the beginning when you got excited about Plexus in the first place? So she says, save the best for last. What are you the most excited about accomplishing? Okay, you want to make sure that you are enthusiastic, that you're smiling, that there's that, you know, there's that energy and mood around you that if you say, yeah, a friend introduced me to Plexus and it's been good. Do you want to take a look at it? They're going to be like, not really. But if you have somebody that people are going to be drawn to because you're like, this is where I was at. I can't believe she came to me the absolute perfect time. And I haven't even had a cyclical migraine since then. This has been incredible because of all the other people I've been able to help. I really feel like you might love this. There's a very difference, right? That was a little bit over animated, but do you see when you're smiling? And Kurt always says, Heidi, on your videos, I think people like to watch because your eyes are always so big. But do you see what we pick up on if you think of what you're attracted to yourself, right? We want to be a positive and a light. We were offering hope here. So we want to be excited. She says, make sure you smile, exude energy and excitement, and don't use wimpy phrases. And here's where she says, don't use wimpy phrases like, I wish, I hope. That's not showing, you're not portraying confidence. You're kind of like, it might work, but I'm not really sure. But do you want to join me as I try to figure it out?
Can I say something there, Heidi?
Yeah.
One thing that I have, that I learned way before Plexus is when you are talking to people who don't have hope, who are looking for hope, whether they join you, either like before Plexus, whether they chose me to help them or whether in Plexus they came with me, was because I heard over and over again, I believed that you believed that I could do this. I believed that you believed that I could beat this sickness or that I could be a winner. And so very often, and I learned this early on, is you have to believe for them until they can believe in themselves. And so how you approach this to people is by showing them that you believe 100% they're going to be successful, because they don't buy what you're sharing, they buy you. And so if you're sharing from a wimpy standpoint, nobody wants to follow a wimp. Or if you're sharing from an unbelief, like a shaky, nobody's going to want to follow you. I'm not going to walk on a platform that to me is maybe over a tank of sharks initially, if that platform is wobbling, but I'll step on it to start crossing over if that platform is solid. And so you need to be that solid platform for people that I 100% believe that you can do this. And there's not a shadow of a doubt that I know that you can beat these food allergies. I know that if you give me a year, your husband and your finances are going to completely change. That is so different than wimpy phrases. So remember, they're buying you or they're not buying you. You don't want to be a shaky platform over a tank of sharks to people, because initially a lot of people are like, but your confidence is what they're buying or not. Okay, I'm done.
It's so true. It's so true. Yeah, it's so true. I don't even know how to say that any better. You took all the right words out there. So power prospecting. Okay, so how do we get into the position where we're able to share these stories and we're able to really, what we have is absolutely incredible, right? It really starts with your belief. You have to believe that you believe that you believe in the company and what we're doing and the opportunity, and you're going to be able to naturally vision cast like that. So a few different approaches in power prospecting. So first one is the direct approach. These are people that are close. They're normally very close to you. You can have really honest conversations with. You can be really direct, right? You don't really have to beat around the bush. You can essentially say, like Jess is going to read to us here. So it's going to sound something like this, right? Where she says, hey, Debbie.
Hi, it's Sarah. I am so excited to share something with you. Do you have a minute? Great. I've been dying to tell you about my new business that's expanding in your area. You are one of the first people I thought of to share this with. Do you have just a few minutes so I can share a little more?
So that's a bit of a template on, you can call up your sister, your best friend, someone you went to school with, and you can cut straight to the chase, right? You don't need to get to know them. You can just tell them you're excited, they need to hear about this, and are they open to it? Always ask if they're open to it, right? Make sure you're always asking, may I send you? Are you interested to hear about, right? And then you share your story. So that's where you go back to, those points that we just went over, and you share your story. Hey, I found out about this. Here's what I was needing. Here's what it's fulfilling. I'm so excited about this. And so I won't read that example, but your example would be exactly those 5 points. And send that to your sponsor. Write that up and send that to your sponsor to be able to tweak that with you and maybe give you some ideas. You know, it's always good to have a second pair of eyes, right? The second approach is the indirect and the referral approach.
Can I just say one thing, Heidi? If you're going to phone someone, ask if they have a few minutes or ask if it's a good time, because I have had people call me that I would have been interested, but I had a screaming child or something was boiling over on the stove. And so make sure that it's a good time, because you might lose someone if they would love to hear what you have to say, but right now is the worst time possible that you could call.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking about calling, really get on the phone. That was something that stood out to me hearing Fallon Black talk at Ruby Retreat. She just said, guys, you just can't have a thriving business without getting on the phone. And that was a really turning point for her, she said. We are really, for the most part, hiding behind our messages. But when we are on the phone, there's just, and I'm talking about on the phone with potentials and on the phone with your teams and your downlines. And so I haven't been on the phone enough myself. And so what Sonia had said too, when somebody, might have been Helen, when someone asks a question, pick up the phone, answer it, and then say, you know what, I'm going to call you. Because she said, when there's one question, there's always more. And it's amazing just like that voice to voice. So that was just a little takeaway I squeezed in here. But the indirect approach is referral-based or someone that you don't know. So I've really, in the past year, have no problem asking for referrals, right? If you think of someone and you know they've either told you it's not the right time or whatever the reason is, you just say, hey, that is no problem at all. I want it to be right for you when that time is right, and I'm always going to be here for you. But who would you know in this moment that really needs to gain better health and happiness, right? And then they'll start thinking, and right out ask them, like, who are some names that come to mind, right? I would love to be able to connect with them. So she says, you can reach out to these people, and it can be someone far away, and you can say, I'm building my business in your area. Who do you know that would be interested? Or who do you know that's looking for? And give them some examples on, you know, what that looks like, right? Who do you know that needs to stay home more to be with their family? Who do you know that's struggling financially?
And you know, with some of these go for no's that we're doing right now, if you do not have like an abrupt no, but it was like a friend that was really nice or people, I would encourage you to go back to those no's and ask for referrals. Is there somebody that I know that right now might not be a good time for you, but do you have somebody? And give a couple analogies like Heidi just did, that if there's single moms, or if there's someone who doesn't want to go back after the maternity leave, and give them a couple analogies to get them thinking. Like with my hairdresser, we have something going right now where I'm giving her $20 a person that she refers to me that joins, because that's less than what I'm going to get back even for my welcome pack bonus. Mm-hmm. So that gets her thinking of people that she may not want to take the time for right now, but it's a referral. So when you get a no and you go for no, ask for referrals. So that's totally fine, but do you know? And you may even want to offer them an incentive if you know them well. I'm giving out $15 a person that joins me for referrals. That's just an option.
Mm-hmm. I actually wrote up a message last year that I was sending it. I think I shared it in the group at one point, but I do the exact same thing. And I actually send out cards to my customers with my referral message. So I thank them for their orders, thank them for supporting our family, and then I ask them for referrals and offer them a $20 Amazon card, right? So, you know, the buck doesn't stop at the person who says no, because think of their entire networks, but we just need to be willing to ask for it. Most people are very willing. If nothing else, they're going to keep that in the back of their mind. And then when they do come into a conversation with someone, then all of a sudden they're going to be like, hey, my friend Heidi could probably help you, right? So it might not be immediate. There's the number 3 is the lifestyle prospecting approach. So when striking up a conversation, make it all about the other person. So when you are, like when I'm traveling, I'm always talking to the people on the plane, and I'm talking to the staff, and I'm just trying to talk. When we go on a resort, I'm talking to the people beside us at the pool. So this is asking people a lot of questions about themselves. So people love to talk about themselves. So start with compliments, right? things that you like about them, reasons you're happy to have met them, and then ask them things like, where are you from? What do you do back home? That's my favorite question. What do you do back home? Because you get to know about them, and they will start, telling and telling. At some point in the conversation, my experience is you always get into either a health need or a financial need. It just happens. If you just talk long enough, and it'll come full circle, and they'll say, what do you do? And that right there is your invitation to share that little short story with them. She says, keep conversing and asking questions, bouncing back and forth like the game of ping pong, and eventually say to them, it was so nice to meet you. Now, at this point, this is where I always say, I'm so glad that we got to meet. I'd love to stay in touch. I'll usually ask them if they have a business card, if they're like in that, or I'll say, are you on Facebook or Instagram? I'd love to stay connected. And that's all I say. And then once they kind of nod or say yes, I hand them my phone. I'm like, can you find yourself on my phone? And then that way we know before we leave here that we'll be able to stay in touch. And it's as simple as that. And now you've got a new contact that's a cold contact, and you've just expanded by their whole network. So that's one of my favorite ways. She says, when they ask you, get to the point saying, what do you do? Share a quick one-liner about the company and what you do. Then say, we just opened this market and the response has been huge. I mean, you can tell them, we're Plexus Worldwide and we are just getting started, right? And we are. We're just getting started. And then you can ask them, do you have time? Can we set up a 15-minute chat tomorrow? So it's going to be dependent on your situation, right? If you're meeting them at a resort or a vacation and you're going to be there a few more days, you could say, do you have time? Do you want to grab a quick 15-minute coffee tomorrow? Or do you want to meet back here tomorrow? And do you want to just chat for a few minutes? Or it might be a phone call, right? Depends where you are. So I really like that. That's my favorite approach of all of them. It works the best for me, and it's how I've gotten the most, well, on vacation, I sign someone up every time typically. So it does work, We're going to do sample pack approach. Anything on number 3, Jess?
I think that it is, I love what you do, and I watched you do it very expertly in Arizona. I think a lot of it is just being willing to step out of your comfort zone. Because for me, naturally, when I go on vacation, I just want to go on vacation. But it's looking for those opportunities. And I use that, can you find yourself on Facebook and friend me? So that they send me the friend request and I can accept it, not I send them the friend request and as soon as I'm out of sight, they don't accept it. And so I think it's very good for them to look you up and then you can accept it while you're standing there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to speak on something to Arizona, guys. I want to fill you up with some confidence here. When we were in Arizona, the lady comes in to take care of our room. And I always love those staff because we know if that's, what they're doing, they need, right? They want financial freedom. And this lady, she's sweet. And I said, thank you so much. I always thank them. Thank you so much for taking such good care of our room. And I said, have you been working here long? I always ask them, do you enjoy working here? Because I want to know if the hotels treat them nice, right? Everywhere I go. And she starts chatting. Turns out she's from Jamaica, has kids. She just starts spilling why she's here, and she has kids she wants to bring. There were 3 other ambassadors standing beside me, and nobody said a thing. We had 90 women there this weekend, and I was watching who is quiet and who actually says something. And there was that little seed of doubt that was no, that's going to look like you're stepping on their toes. Don't say anything. That's going to be rude. This isn't the time. And then all of a sudden this side was like, no, this is the time. This lady needs this. And so right in front of everybody, they're waiting at the door for me to go. And I started telling her, and I gave her my card and we connected. That girl is setting reminders in a chat. When I say I'm going to check in with you in 2 days, she makes a reminder in the chat and it says, Heidi's checking in with me. She's setting her own reminders. What if I had been quiet? So when you go even to a Plexus event, when you go anywhere, don't bottle that up just because everyone else is being quiet, guys. What if she turns out to be a diamond on my team? I don't know. But everyone else was too shy to say something. Whether it's because we were with other ambassadors, I have no idea. But I'm like, no, this is like, you either say something or you don't. Just do it politely and do it well. Anyways, I just want to encourage you. Don't feel that need to be, if they're not going to say anything, then you do. Right? Someone's not going to share health, do it. Share it. Okay, sample pack approach. I think we're pretty good at this one. Do you guys all do samples? Slim stick samples, mailing out samples, business cards in your purses, things like that. That's what this approach is. It's essentially you are offering them to try it. Here is another way to do that. When you're out, make sure you're prepared. I always like to have a card and a slim stick in my jacket pocket, and for sure in my little zipper case in my purse. When you are at a restaurant or when you are anywhere and you're getting served, even at a cash register, then you can say something like, thanks so much for the great service. Do you love your job? Or how long have you been working here? Let them answer. And then before you leave, say, that's so great. I really appreciate your service. I just want to leave you this little gift. And you can quick tell them, here's a pink drink, and just quick tell them, here's what it's done for me. And then say, if you promise to try it, I promise to follow up with you. Really quick. I've done that in the grocery store sometimes. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I always think about it, right? So you can do that when you're shopping for clothes. You can do that anywhere you're being served. And in fact, you can do it at the gas station. So just sift and sort. And then she says, make sure you get their name and number and tell them when you will be following up with them. So that's something I've really been doing lately, is making sure people know, hey, that's great. And they say, so you follow up with me in 2 days. Okay, hey, that's great. So it'll work well, right? For me, you just mentioned if I follow up with you on Friday, right, or on whatever. So just re-verbalize what they told you and then confirm that appointment. So those are the three ways. And then she gets into share and then invite. Okay, so we've got our potential now. We've opened up the conversation. And she says, when you've reached out to share your story with others, the next step is to invite them to hear more. And that's exactly the system that Genevieve Plexus has laid out for us. Send, share, invite, send, share, invite. It's the same sequence. She says your prospect may value face-to-face chat, and if so, invite them to coffee and bring along your upline for validation when able. So never underestimate the power of bringing in your upline or sponsor, okay? The supportive one that you may be power partner with, or the one you know that you can rely on. And if it's not a face-to-face coffee, do it on a 3-way phone call or do it on a face-to-face chat using Facebook or Skype, right? Very, very powerful. She says if there's a live event coming up, those are the most powerful because there's others there that have benefited. They're sharing stories. There's just an excited energy. Invite them to be your honored guest. And I like that she said honored. And she said you might want to even take them out for a coffee or something after to be able to talk about it, right? Not just send them home, but spend some time after and then take them to coffee culture, take them to Starbucks, take them somewhere to really show that they were your guest. And she just really emphasizes that bringing in your upline and sponsor for validation, because remember, we don't want to be seen as the expert. We want that affirmation. And if you don't know all the answers, and if you're just starting, say that. Say, I'm really new to this. I'm just getting started. Do you mind? Can I bring in my partner? She says business partner. We might say, I often say my friend. John Maxwell says we really relate to the friendship aspect. But yeah. Anything, Jess, on that?
No, I think that's very good. I think, how he talks about the third point validation, as much as we can do that, I do a lot of Zooms with people because I have so many people that are spread out. And so I encourage people to get a couple people in their room or over to their house, their living room, and do a Zoom and do a face-to-face that way to connect with people. And so I've done that quite a bit in Wyoming, and it's worked out really well because they can see me, they can connect, we can laugh and joke together, ask questions. And so I just encourage people, don't let distance stop you. There's so much with technology we can do. And that has done so much for my business, for people to be able to connect and see me. I notice it's made a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Don't ever let, I know that, you know, when there's pods of us locally, like today our team is getting together for local training, and I know, you know, naturally, you know, we want to be at those places too, but I always tell them, you can create that wherever you are, because you are the leader as well. So connect with that, like Allison and Jen are close together, you know, together you guys can do the same thing as we're doing here. It's just about stepping out, because I have to create my own too, right? And so it just takes, choose a date, just get the ball rolling. Because what you do in your area, you never need to wait for somebody. This is your business. You're the leader, and your people are there because of you. So don't wait for your uplines to always be planning all the things. You be the leader, okay? You step out and do that. So power presenting, she says, the sharing your story. Okay, that's really where the rubber meets the road. So she says, once your prospect has agreed to hear more via coffee, a call, what do you say? You have to be able to deliver a quick company story or an overview enthusiastically, highlighting the points that appeal to you. So that's what I was just saying before. If you're not enthusiastic and if you're not even excited, there's so many things vying for our attention in today's world, that what's going to make them want to stop to listen to you if you're just kind of mediocre at best about it. And so, Jess, do we want to go through the script, or do we want to just have everybody read it?
I think just for time today, people can read it. But what I really encourage, and what I'm going to redo, like just reading over this chapter today, is really fine tune so that it comes naturally to you when you're talking to them. Fine tune your what you're going to say. And if you're going to really incorporate this, and I really encourage you to incorporate this, find the person that you're going to have on the three-way call and do some role playing back and forth. I can't tell you how much that is, how important that is. Like when I redo a new presentation or anything, I go over it over and over it again so that I can stand up there confidently and share what I'm going to say. And so she gives such great analogies. Like if you don't have this book, even if Heidi and I would role play, you're not going to remember everything. Get the book, because it's so good with scripting. But she just shares, you know, how you go back and forth with showing people. I think with doing that, I remember when Kristen and Eva did that, when I finally joined with Eva. Eva did a three-way with Kristen, and Kristen just validated. She was confident. She was fun. She was her giggly but professional self. And it was, this is so simple. Eva hardly said anything. It was validating what with Kristen, what she said. And so it's very powerful to hear the voice and connect, because Kristen became real to me then. And so I think that's a lot what she's doing here is showing people you can do this just by bringing in your sponsor. I don't like upline.
I don't either. I like friend. I like friend. John Maxwell really stood out to me when he just talked about people relate, you know, whether you're a leader, sideline, upline, like just saying your friend, people want the belonging and the culture more than they want a system. So I like the word friend. So she says when talking, when presenting, there's 5 P's, and you can use note cards until you get it down pat, but don't stick to those note cards. You want to get to where you can speak from the heart, like Jess was saying. And so the first one is partnership. Basically, you just want to talk about the company that you've joined. Okay. Number 2 is products. Share your own results and the market potential. So let them know how many people are struggling and how many people need better health. And in brackets, she says, not the ingredients. This is not the time to be going, we've got New Zealand green lift muscle and blah, blah, blah. That can come later if they're agreeing. People, they don't care about that right now. They just want to feel better, okay? They want to be happier and healthier, so that's not the time. The programs, so let them know about our groups and our supportive culture and our community and how we're going to be right alongside them. Talk to them about the pay plan, right? We have that great video, Learn to Earn, and just kind of give them a quick synopsis of kind of, here's the structure, here's how we get paid, 11 different ways. You don't got to go through the 11, right?
Can I say something here?
Yeah.
Okay, two things, because I had to learn this a lot. Number one, all we want to do on this call is create curiosity and give them a third-party tool after they get off the phone. I promise you, 90% of your people, when it comes to the pay plan or ingredients, are not going to remember unless they're audio learners. All you want to do is create enough curiosity about our pay plan. We get paid 11 different ways 5 times a month. Every week I get a check. To me, that's enough curiosity to say, oh my goodness, can you send me more details later? But if once they zone out, if that's going to the left part of the brain, and no decisions are made in the left part of the brain. The only part of the brain is the emotional right side. So if you get techie with this, unless they're like a specific green that says, tell me every different way I have my notepad there, don't. Just say 5 times a month, we get paid 11 different ways. We can earn cars. We go trips to Hawaii. That's enough to get the curiosity, and then go to the next point. Because they're not going to make decisions on what you say on every single 11 ways on that call. Just like with me and the ingredients.
Yeah, that really stood out to me when I was once on a call with Kristen, actually. And it was the same thing. Someone asked a question. She's like, I don't know. Which, you know, and I was like, is she actually saying that, Steinman? But yeah, she was, because she's like, well, that's actually irrelevant right now. It's not important to why these people need this. That can come later. And so it just really, because I used to just like, whoa, with all the numbers and the ingredients. And it's just funny how you just learn as you go. We're all growing. But number 5 is positioning and timing. So you want to create an urgency, she says. Create an urgency as to why the time is now for them to join, by saying something like, you could not have picked a better time to hear about this. Right? I like to say, this is the perfect timing, and I'll tell them something that's coming up. I'm so glad we met right now because here's what's about to happen, right? Or this is an excellent time to join because. And so just create that they want to be with you. They don't want to wait another year, and they don't want to, you know, kind of just dwell in all their uncomfortableness. They want to join now, and they want to start, you know, reaching this freedom now. So she gives a script there, and again, if you have the book, you can go into that. But she says at the very end, if after all of that, if they say that they're not interested, she says, then you ask, do you know somebody who would be? Right? Like, that is no problem, right? I just totally appreciate the time that you let me share that. Who do you know? I don't say, do you know someone? Because I know the answer is yes. I don't give them a yes or no. I say, who do you know that? Right? Because there's always someone, and it's okay if it's not the time for them, but there's going to be someone else. And so then in the next steps, eventually, right, like I said, you're validating what they're saying, and then you're going to, for the ones that are interested, they're going to give you referrals. You're going to say, here's the next steps. I'm going to send you an informational email. There's going to be a link to my site to learn more about the products, as well as a link to our opportunity video, so you can learn more about the business too. I'll send you a link to one of my business partners sharing her business story, which showcases the possibilities. This would be a diamond documentary, or it would be that sharing, story sharing one. And I love the first one specifically because a bunch of our uplines are in there, and I can say every single time a bunch of my friends are actually in this video, right? So you can just with integrity be able to say, like, these are people that I know, this is real, and maybe you throw in something extra. So she says, I love this part, guys. Take note of this. She says, what I want you to do, so you're going to be telling this to your person, what I want you to do is go through this information, write down all the questions you have, and then I'd like to answer those questions on a call with my business partner. We would say friend or sponsor. I have some time free tomorrow or the following day. What time works best for you? So it's really important to capture that next time of connection, right? When are you going to be connecting again? Don't just leave it open-ended, and ask them when it suits them. Because like Jess said, if it doesn't suit them and it's just really not a good time for them to listen, they're not going to catch it anyways, and you might really miss out on something good for them and for you.
But I know, I like what she says though. She doesn't leave it a week down the road, because the excitement, she says, what time today or the next day would work for you? It's not, do you have time this weekend? Because everybody has a short amount of time to watch it, even if they watch it on the toilet.
True story. It's true. So she says, just to review, proper sequence of exposure is that first initial contact, Okay, you're going to give them the tools. You're going to have them review the information. They're going to write down their questions, and then you're going to connect again. And that's just over and over and over and over. Keep it really simple. Don't overthink it. I'm just trying to think here. I want to hop over to the next chapter so that we have time. But essentially, yeah, guys, like just share your story, referrals, ask for referrals, never be shy, and don't ever be shy to share just because someone else is standing in the room, right? They deserve to know about it. She says on the last page, the fortune is in the follow-up. After talking to anyone, no matter what the response, I send them a follow-up email, thanking them for their time, along with links to our business products, a success story, and my website, should they know of someone that might be interested, or in this case, have interest later on down the road. Right? Because remember, it's going to recall into their memory, like I said, all of a sudden, oh, you know, you're dealing with migraines. My friend Heidi has something that might be able to help you. And then they're going to have that information to be able to connect with. So she says, you're always going to need to be talking to people to keep your business growing. The best way to master the skill is by talking to people every single day. And that is the truth. We are in the people business. We need to constantly, you know, the people you bring on are not just going to keep you floating. I promise. People come and go. If you're not constantly talking to new people, okay, that rise is not going to be happening. You're going to be experiencing some heavy attrition. And you don't just maintain. Jess, you had a line about that at one point where you're never just hovering. So people say, I'm just going to maintain where I'm at. That actually doesn't usually happen. You're either going down or you're on your way up. You don't typically maintain. And so that just constantly reaching out to new people.
It's kind of like if you are a train that is in business and you have a business by your train making loads and going to places, or if it's people, your train taking people to their destination. If your train is idling in the train station, you're not making money. And over time, you're going to run out of fuel because your train, the only way that you make money is if that train is moving. And what starts to happen is we're on an incline with this train to boot. And if you're not going ahead, you slowly start to go backwards. It's not possible to sit and idle long in this business, especially if you ever want to go anywhere, because people, and especially I think I've really noticed this a lot, momentum is something that is gained. And it's literally like a train takes a while to get going. And so I think somebody was talking about this in one of the chats. Heidi, I think we should do the closing next week because it's such a big topic with closing and starting people out. Would you be okay with that? Mm-hmm. Okay. I think one of the things that I have literally that sits in my head when I get into maintenance mode is a train takes a while to get going. There's a lot behind it. It takes a lot of pressure. It takes a lot of energy to get going. And one thing that I have learned so much in this business is that momentum is literally the train going. And it's hard to get that train going and keep it going if you stop because you were really excited. You go for a week and your team starts to get excited and then you're MIA for whatever reason. Unless it's like a tragic death, and I am very respectful for that. But there is no reason in this business to stop. Because you can do this. I have done this business in the wee hours of the morning. I've done it in airports. I've done it every possible way you can do it. When I'm on a plane, I'm answering questions so that when I get back into service, all the questions go through. It's just excuses basically if we stop. And so it's okay as long as you acknowledge it's an excuse that I stopped. But what happens is you got a bunch of excited people that are like, yay, we're going somewhere. And then you stop. That train slowly grinds to a halt. And then you want to go again. And so you slowly get the train going. And then for whatever reason, you stop. Nobody's going to want to be in your train because they're going to have whiplash. And so I really encourage you that when your train gets going, even if it's going slow and you're chugging, you're still going somewhere. You're not sliding backwards and you're not sitting in the train station. So momentum is something that picks up speed and then it picks up speed and soon you're flying along the tracks. And that's where people want to be in your train because they're going somewhere. They're not sitting in the prairies and fields for years and years and years because it's just inching and jerking and stopping all the time. We want to get the mountains and the lakes and all that kind of stuff. And that comes by being a leader that, irregardless of your feelings, keeps going because the train is slowly moving. So I don't even know how we got onto that. What were you talking about? Momentum.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't give your team whiplash. That's my saying.
Yeah. Well, and you know, you really, it's really true. You really want to lead by example. Because like Jess was saying, people don't want to come on and join a team that's, you know, stalled in the station. And even your happy wholesalers, they're watching your team page. Are they seeing new ambassadors being added? Are they seeing interaction between the team, or is it just like a stale, boring page? People want to belong to something exciting. And so in able to create that, you as the leader, you need to go in there and you need to be that excitement, and you need to like basically put the train in gear. And like she said, even if it's going slow, are you still at the front? Are you still the engineer? Are you still at the front? And are you still, you know, just chugging? Because like she said, when you're chugging, even if it's slow, it will pick up speed, right? So don't all of a sudden throw on the brakes right when you're about to go around the corner and head down the mountain and pick up major speed. So be in front, be the leader, be visible. I just can't say the visible thing enough. Someone said to me the other day, we had a great phone conversation, and all of a sudden she says, you know, I haven't been posting enough. I bet you that half the people I know don't even know that I sell Plexus. You know, just to be able to like reflect and verbalize. And that's just exactly how it is. Do people know what you're doing? Are you being visible? Are you excited? Is there excitement in your group? Post funny things. Doesn't always have to be a new ambassador adding. Post an encouraging quote. Post something hilarious. Get laughing together. Get excited. Plan a get together. I've been excited for our get together today for like weeks. You know, I can't tell you all the things of it because some of my girls are on here, but just the little surprises, you know, that you can plan and do, just make things fun. And yeah, I don't know, culture eats strategy for lunch, they say.
I do. And you know, I have to go here because we have a meeting today too. But one of the things that I want to, you know, back in the days when trains, you could open the windows and hang out and you see these pictures of people waving and exciting. You're going through towns and people are, we want our train to be the one where people are like, that's a party train. They're hanging out, they're yelling, they're having fun, they're smiling faces against the window. Or every time somebody drives by the train station, are we the train that's sitting in there not going anywhere? They're smoking. They're like, what in heaven's name is that train doing? It just sits there every single day. No, we want to be the train. And so when you guys are commenting on our page, comment. That creates the party train. You're the face that's pressed against the window smiling. Your child is the one that's hanging half out waving a party thing, you know? That's what we want to create. So when we post reminders, one other thing, this is kind of a pet peeve. When we post reminders in the chats, don't click can't go. Only click if you're going. Remember, we're creating this party train. We're creating momentum. And all of you are part of what makes our train look so exciting. And your teammates are watching. Whole fun. You're like, I'm going to go on that train. They go to so many fun vacations. They do so much fun stuff. And so we want to be that train. And you help your teammates that are happy wholesalers join the party train by you being that fun person hanging out the window.
Do you guys know, we're going to wrap this up, but do you guys know how many people from other teams have heard about our penthouse party in Orlando? Like Paige is like the superstar for getting that thing by somehow by accident. But do you know why? It's because we posted pictures and we were dancing and having fun, and it was all in good fun. And people were like, how come I didn't get invited, or how didn't I get up there? That's the kind we want people to like want to be with us. And there's already questions coming like, what's happening this year at, you know, convention and all the rest of it. Because there was excitement and we were that train of the crazies. Teresa and I were a little crazy and all our fluorescent and Allison and, you know, but you just have to create the fun. Make people want to be with you. Make them want to be in business with you. Make them want to not miss a day of the supplements that are making you so happy, right? We just, life is just meant for living, guys. Yeah.
It is.
So, okay.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just saying we have the opportunity tour coming. So I know for us that are local in Alberta, we have that in Red Deer on March 12th. that's an event. Get your people to these events. Corporate's going to be there. In fact, that's going to be the first kind of major corporate event for us. So we're going to have people from Arizona there, which we don't usually get. So get people there.
Yes,
Right.
and Canadians, there's one too in Winnipeg on the 13th. So the next night there is a few. So
And Langley the night before. So
yeah. So, and they're going to be totally different than we've ever had. And for the Americans, same thing. So there will now be booths. It's not just going to sit and listen to a presentation. There will be booths set up where you just walk around with your people and they will get to sample lean at one booth, and they'll get to learn about slim and sample slim at one booth. And they just have to complete all the booths, and then there will be giveaways and testimonies in between that all. So totally new format, will be very fun. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So we will say have a great weekend, and next Saturday we'll be back. So Jess, chapter 7 or chapter 7 and 8? 7 is only like 3 pages.
Yeah, well, depending on unless we keep talking a lot about closing, but I think that we can do 7 and 8 next week. It's closing us the deal and starting your people strong. So that's going to be next week.
Yeah. So read to the end of page 94. So from 77 to 94, quick, easy read. And we are going to be announcing our next book study coming up really soon, so you guys can get that ordered or audibles or whatever you need to do. So fantastic. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us. See you.